Okay, so here we are. Many of you might not know how to dock and transfer fuel. I know I didn't when the first update for it to come out did, but anyways, that's besides the point. I'm here to show you how to dock and to transfer fuel to another ship that's docked, I guess. Anyways, so I've got a pre-made ship here, tested it out, works pretty well for what we're doing, but I do want to add just a little bit more of these things because it was kind of slowing down after this first stage, but I still managed to get something into orbit. So what we're going to do is we're going to dock this ship. It's like I have like this capsule right here already in orbit, so we're going to take this same exact thing and dock it to itself, I guess, because I'm too lazy to get a space station going. Anyways, yeah, so here we are. I'll just show you my ship design if you don't really care and you just want to see how to transfer fuel. You can just skip the video. I'll put like a time thing in the description or something like that. But here's my ship. Basically, I got some of these like bigger things. Like hopefully you won't be too confused. I got a few mod packs, but this is solely just stock items for right now. So I used this, I use this engine right here, and it doesn't have thrust vectoring. So what thrust vectoring is it's like it will turn the engine. It'll like turn it just slightly. It's not like super huge, but it'll turn where, like, you know, the velocity is coming out, or thrust, and it'll change the direction of your ship, so you can control it better. So what I had to do was, since this doesn't have thrust vectoring, I had to put these on here, which are these little ones. They only do about like 20 thrust, max power or whatever. So they only do about 20, but they do have thrust vectoring, so it'll keep this first stage really really controlled. And on the side here I just have some boosters to help lift this thing off, get some velocity going. Other than that, I mean, it's a pretty good design. Gets the job done. Up here I have some RCS tanks and some RCS to control, because you definitely like, this is a must-have if you're gonna dock things, because otherwise you're gonna have to use liquid engines, and that's kind of a pain. So you're gonna want that, and you're gonna want docking ports. So I'll just show you some of the docking ports that you can use. So you have this one, and this one is pretty cool. It's good for like space planes and stuff. If you right click on it while you're flying it, it'll give you an option to open it up and the thing will come out and you can dock stuff to it. This one's sort of the same, but it's not sideways like that one is. Then you have just your standard docking port. That's usually what you're going to use on most things. Good for space stations too. And then you have like a small one. I've never really used that one. I've never found a use for it. But anyways, that's you're gonna want those if you're going to dock. Actually, you know what? I should probably put some lights on here because in the recent update, they made it so your ship is no longer lit even on the dark side of the planet. So you're gonna want maybe some lights. I mean, you can still do it in the dark, but if you're on the dark side, it'll make it a little bit harder to get lined up. So I'm gonna put that there, and I'm just gonna put maybe a battery. Yeah, put some batteries on here. Be good. Put it right. Dang it. Yeah, screw it. I'll just put it like right there. Be fun. Okay. Well, let's launch this beast. Okay, so most of you should, if you're watching this, you should know how to get things into orbit, stuff like that. This is pretty much just going to show you how to dock and transfer fuel. So let's get rolling. I guess I'll just kind of fast forward through this. It's nothing going to be like too important, but anyways. Well, actually, to make our lives a little easier, this is the thing that we want to dock to. So what we want to do is just fast forward time till it gets all the way around to like maybe right around there, and then we'll go ahead and launch and try to catch up to it. Alright, so yeah, let's get rolling. Okay, so we're accelerating, and what we want to do is get our Apple apps to about the same thing as this. So I'm just gonna cut engines right here. That's pretty good. So now we just gotta wait till we get to the highest point in our semi-orbit thing, I guess, and I'm just gonna put a maneuver node and just kind of round this thing out. So well, actually, hold on, let me do this first. If you click on this line right here, you can set it as target, and this will give you an idea of where your ship will be in comparison to the target. So what I'm going to do is put this maneuver node back here, and I got to work kind of quickly because I got about roughly a minute. Alright, so with this maneuver node, if I keep adding velocity or subtracting it, you can see that it'll give us a good idea of where we're going to be. So this is where it'll be, and this is where we will be in comparison. So we still got to give ways to go. So, because I mean, we need to meet this thing. It's like, I don't know. It's like trying to shoot like a basket from like, I don't know, the Empire State Building or something. It's ridiculous. Okay, so, but it's not too bad once you kind of learn how to do things. So coming to the top of this orbit, okay, so we're behind it, which means we need to catch up to it. So our orbit needs to be smaller than that of the thing we're trying to dock with, since we're catching up to it. It's like, you can think about a track, like, you know, track and field. Think about that. If you're on the very inside, you're going a shorter distance. So that's why they spread the runners out, because it'd be unfair, because the guy in the middle, or the guy closest to the center, would have less distance to run. So what we want to do is go less distance and catch up to this thing. So that's what we're going to do. So just getting into orbit here, so I don't have to worry about, you know, falling back into the atmosphere. And that should do it. Alright, another thing to note are these ascending nodes and descending nodes. What these tell you is that this tells you kind of like the plane that you have in comparison to what you're trying to dock with. So a good example would be like, here, let me just move my target. If we were going to go to Minimus, then you see this dotted line right here. We need to make our plane the same as this to make it much easier to rendezvous with. So what you do is you put a maneuver node right there, and you see like these purple triangles right here. This controls your this controls like the kind of like the tilt of your orbit. So as you can see, when I add a little more to there, you see how they've turned now. The plane is now 0 degrees, so that if I were to follow in on this maneuver, we'd be perfectly aligned to go to Minimus, but we're not going there. So what we do want is to set this back up as a target, and as we come over here, you can see it's like right there. We're about 3 degrees off. We'll try to get that a little bit lower and make it easier on us. So sometimes it's kind of hard to get it close, but I'll try to get it as close as I can. Oh, that's pretty good right there. That's like literally perfect. So now we just gotta fast forward time and get to that maneuver, and then we'll be literally on the same plane as this other spacecraft. So here we go. Just gonna line this back up. Actually, I can just I can ditch this thing right here. So it'll make it easier for me to maneuver. There we go. And usually when you do your plane corrections, it doesn't require a lot of velocity, so pretty nice. Just trying to get that a little bit more. See, the thing with this is it's really sensitive to movements, so. Alright, that should do it. Just delete that. So, we're not perfect, but we're definitely getting there. Alright, so now we need to get these two things much closer. So let's try to figure out a maneuver that could get us there. Actually, really, I think we just need to wait. We need to speed up time and just wait for us to get a little bit closer. Because you'll see the orange represents the, like, I guess the first, like, you'll be closer to that one, or it's like the first one coming to you, and then the purple, I guess, is the second one. So you can see, since we're on this lower orbit, we're steadily getting closer and closer. I think this will actually turn, we might be past it when this one turns to a purple thing. Actually no, we can keep going. That one's actually a little bit closer than that one is. Huh. Let's just keep going, see what happens. Alright, okay, so now you can see that we're past it right here. It's predicting us to be past it, so we're going to have to change that. So, we'll set up a maneuver mode. I guess roughly around here. Try to get that straightened up. Another thing you can do is, if you hold the left mouse button on the maneuver node, you can like slide it around the axis, I guess. Alright. So we can move this thing around. It looks like right there. That's pretty close. Yeah, 0.2. That's really close. So that's what we're gonna do. So now we just gotta warp to the next maneuver. And get that perfect. We'll be really close, and that'll be really nice. If you are having a lot of trouble with your maneuvers and stuff like that, and getting like close enough to wherever you want to dock with, you know, 3 kilometers, that's doable. I mean, I've done that. I've done like 6 before, but it wastes more fuel, so you just got to keep that in mind. But other than that, it's not that big a deal. I think I'm gonna have to do another maneuver. 1.3. Yeah, I can do that. That won't be a big deal. I got plenty of fuel. So now we wait. I think, right? Yeah, there's our target, so it'll start getting a lot closer. Just gonna watch this thing right here. Alright, now we want to start slowing down the warp. Okay, so key things to note is this this little pink shape thing, target, whatever. That is, if you were to thrust in that, well, if you were to point your ship in that direction, that is the direction of your target. So when you get close enough to your target, your velocity things, shapes, they change. They change based on the relativeness of the object you're trying to dock with. So if I were to do this, you can see this isn't really truly my orbiting velocity. It's relative to my target. So I want to go ahead and zero this out so it'll make it easier to rendezvous with it. So now we're pretty close, you know. It's farther down than we are right now. See, we're higher than it, so we're slowly gonna just drift away from it. So we want to get closer. Well, we want to dock with it. So if you zero out your velocity and point it in the direction of where it's at, you'll be able to get pretty close to it. But again, it's lower down, so if I speed up time, you'll see that the velocity will change. So if you watch this right here, see how it's moving? That's because it's having to go a shorter distance than we are. So you have to keep correcting it until eventually you get super close to it, and then you can dock with it. And the faster you go, the longer it will take for that thing to change, but you don't want to go too fast, or you might end up crashing into it. So I would recommend just, you know, don't go above 7 meters per second. I mean, you'll be pushing it by then, but yeah, just, you can warp time, so you don't have to wait as long. It's a very tedious process, but just keep with it. You'll get it eventually. What I'm doing is, as it's moving down there, instead of actually just pointing right on it, I would point right on it if my velocity was 0 relative to it. But to move your velocity, you know, faster into that direction, you want to kind of like overcompensate for it. So you move it up higher, and it'll try to get closer to what you're looking for. Yeah, that should be good. Alright, so now I'm going to change over to this other one. Actually, I'm just going to open the docking port. You just right click on it and click on that. But anyways, I didn't know this for the longest time, but you can switch between your ships by using the bracket keys on your keyboard. So like any ship would like near your current location, you can just switch by using the brackets. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the position of this pointing north, and the reason for that is because it'll make it much easier to dock and like kind of see my orientation, so me orbiting around this planet doesn't, you know, screw with my head. I don't know, it's confusing, but that doesn't really matter that much. Just point it north. So now we're going to go back to this other guy. Just use a little bit for us. Oh, yeah, when you switch between guys, it changes your target, which that's a problem. Oh, yeah. So if you that's sometimes really close, you can't get your target in, but yeah. So I'm just going to zoom this back out. Actually, I'm just going to go down just a little bit, try to get as lined up as possible. This thing's like so sensitive to movement. Alright, so that's pretty good. We can get over there. Alright, so now what we're going to do is point this thing south. That's where we are going to die. There we go. So now we're both in the correct orientation. We just need to maneuver it in. So hopefully you put some RCS on your ship. So what you want to do is press R. It'll activate your RCS. And with the keys of H, N, J, I, K, and L, they're like your linear thruster, RCS thrusters. So like if I do I, it'll push me in that direction. If I do K, it'll go in the other direction. L is downward, J is upward, and K, N and H are for forward and backwards. So using the combination of these, we can maneuver it so that we can just go slide right in. As you can see down here is we're moving our velocity, and it's really like really sensitive because of how slow we're going relative to the ship. So what I'm trying to do is just get this thing lined up really nice. I'll turn it this way to get a better view. Alright, we're like pretty much zero. Just gonna, there we go. That should do it right there. And as soon as you get that thing lined up like that, it just slides right in. I should probably go down just a little bit. But no, that's gonna do it. Yeah, there we go. So now we are docked. Whew, there we go. Fortunately, we are on the light side while docking, so the lights, we didn't really need them, but better be safe than sorry. Okay, so now for the whole reason to dock. Docking can be a very powerful tool for very patient people. Let's say you can get someone all the way to Jewel, or maybe Elo, and you want to return them home, but you only had enough fuel to get there. Well, you can send fuel ships, and with fuel ships, they can resupply your people so that they can get home. But how do you transfer your fuel? Well, it's really simple, but apparently it's not obvious. All you have to do is right click on one fuel tank, hold Alt. I guess it'll work for both Alt keys, yeah. A left or right Alt key, and now you have this. Basically, you choose whatever fuel tank you want to do transferring with, and with this I can just be like, oh, I want some fuel right here, and then you transfer your fuel by clicking the in button. Or if you don't want fuel here, you click the out. It's as simple as that. So now we have fuel. Easy as that. If you have like multiple things docked, it can get confusing with like your orientation and like where you're actually going. So like, I don't know, it's weird. You can right click here and where it says control from here, it'll change like your nav bar. It'll help you, you know, find your relativeness compared to everything else. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll undock this guy. Let me get just a little bit more. Oh god. Yeah. Wrong button there, sorry. Just stock back up. Unlock. And now we can go back home. See you later, sucker. And they just added the re-entry effects, which is really cool. Definitely recommend exploring that. I'll show you a quick bit of it. Pretty scary, I'm not gonna lie. Be very scary, actually. I don't know. Go warp time a little more. Deploy the parachutes. Yeah. Woo. Oh god, we're upside down. This is not good. This is not good. Oh, they died. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend time accelerating with your parachutes about to deploy fully. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it.